Hello, and welcome to the Tuning In podcast. I'm Dana Evans, your inner voice and emotional support coach. In this podcast, we explore the deep wisdom that lives in our bodies, emotions, and inner voice. Together, we'll shed the layers that no longer serve us, creating space to tap into the flow of life and experience true ease. So, are you ready to join me? Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. Okay, I have a fun discussion for you all today about spring cleaning. But before we talk about spring cleaning, I want to let you know that I created a fun, well, maybe fun, maybe not fun, but I created an audio just for you to help you spring clean your emotions. And if you've been here for a while, then you know that I am a firm believer in cleaning our physical environments and also cleaning our emotions. And really, cleaning your physical environment can be a really great way to process and release emotion. So a lot of times I get people who come to me and they say, oh my gosh, I can't cry. Like I can't get the tears out, or I can't process. I feel this anger inside of me, or my shoulders are tense and I feel frustrated and I can't get it out. I don't know how to get it out. And of course I can help them do that. But a lot of times to start, I recommend they do a cleaning, organizing, or clearing project within their physical space. So whether that is taking all the books off your bookshelf, dusting your bookshelf, and reorganizing them by type or color. I just did that with John's bookcase, so that's why that's on my mind. We got new bookshelves and we took all of the books that were on a pile on his floor. He has like a resource library, okay? He has so many textbooks. And I'd had this vision to make it like a library vibe in his office. And I finally got these great simple shelf system from the Container Store, the Alpha shelf system. And my dad helped us install those. And then we got to put all of his books on these shelves, and it's so satisfying, right? So whether it's doing a project like that or something really small, like cleaning out your wallet or your purse or your glove compartment, or reorganizing where you have the dishes and the mugs in your house. Like my favorite one is going through your personal care products. Like whatever it is, I recommend choosing a project and then starting it. And that is guaranteed to get some energy moving because we're making space. When we make space in our physical environment, it can translate to our energetic environment and it can get the ball rolling. I did a big project earlier this year. I did my office and it took me days because I had moved so many things from my old house to the new house. I had gone through that, but I still moved a lot more than I needed. And it was just like shoved in cupboards and drawers and bags. So I literally took everything out and went through it, and it was painstaking because I love knickknacks. I love cutesy things. I love sentimental things. And I mean, even though I went through all of that, there's still like organized stuff and they're organized into categories. But that project brought up a lot of frustration and a lot of old memories from old experiences, some that were great, some that were really challenging, and I had a lot to process. So that's another thing, is like choosing a space to process might help and determine what energy comes up. So all of that being said, it can be a lot in the spring when we have this desire to maybe like refresh our space, and when we have a lot of like stagnant and old heaviness from the winter. Because of that, I decided to create a clearing for you. And this clearing is called Moving Dense Energy, because that is the energy I think of when I think of winter. It's like slow, heavy, dense. It can feel really sticky, and it can feel hard to move. It can feel like it just wants to hunker down and stay in your system. But I am here to tell you that it does not need to stay stuck in your system. You do not need to carry the heaviness with you into the spring. And you might need support. So I created a free audio and you can access that. I will put the link in the show notes. I'll read it to you, but it's going to be easier to just scroll to the show notes in your podcast app and click the link. But it's alignful.myflodesk.com/audio-clearing. So alignflodesk.com/audio-clearing. You'll just drop in your information and it will send you an email to get that clearing. And I'm so excited. My podcast editor and I put that together. And so there's some sound effects. And I think it's really going to be a grounding, soothing, supportive practice to help you move out what is not needed. I recommend doing it in the evening, maybe before bed, so that you can kind of move some energy. And then as you sleep, your body is able to kind of process and integrate in the night. So definitely go get that audio. It is going to support you. It's not a meditation. It is a very specific process designed to help you clear. In fact, I was talking to a client the other day who used it and she's like, wow, I feel better immediately. That is the point. This is not just like, let's calm the mind. No, this is, let's go in there and look at the tar that has built up, look at the mud, and let's freaking wash it off and get it out of your system. And it will do just that. So go and get that clearing. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of this and excited to share it with you. And since you listen to audio, since you're already on the podcast, I know that you like audios. And so you get to download that. You can put it on your phone and use it. So with that, let's get into the rest of the clearing topic. So spring. I am so happy to be in New Mexico because spring comes earlier than Colorado. I think I spoke about this on one of my recent episodes, but spring showed up in March, early March, and it just stuck around and it has come into full glory over here. And part of the spring process for me is I'm doing some planning for my backyard. We have a yard for the first time ever, and it is dirt. It is a dirt pile. So I found this wonderful woman who I'm calling her like my garden gnome. She's been doing this for 25 years and she helps people intentionally, intuitively, and really organically plan and create these garden yard sanctuary places. So she came over and we visioned, and it will be slow. This is not going to be done instantly, but I'll be slowly kind of creating this vision. So that is kind of like this external energy of spring for me, is like I'm so envisioning next spring, like having all of these plants growing. And inside, I see my plants growing. And I also have noticed, like, I think plants and fresh energy and blooms are such a good reminder to us of like, not everything has to stay the same all the time. You as a human go through different cycles and seasons, and our plants go through different cycles and seasons, and nature goes through different cycles and seasons, and our animals and kids go through different cycles and seasons. And I think it's a really good invitation for our homes to go through different cycles and seasons. So what have I been up to when it comes to spring clearing, spring cleaning? First, it comes to the plants. I've actually done some moving around of my plants. So in my old house, like I put plants in one place and I just like left them there. But here I'm kind of reading the energy, and I did some resetting in my office. I kind of moved some things around, and with that, I moved the plants around. And it feels so good. And I think the plants are really happy too. I already see 3 of them that I moved have new sprouts. So they're like, yes, give me a new space. So that is really powerful to just kind of look at your plants and decide if you want to move them. And then, oh my gosh. So last week it was intense. I was so foggy and had no energy and was like struggling, except for Thursday and Sunday. And Thursday and Sunday, I did like multiple days worth of work in one day. Sunday happened to be house cleaning. And so while I have been doing different like spring cleaning organization projects over the last month, Sunday it hit me hard and I needed to deep clean, right? You know that like hit, you're like, I know what needs to happen. Like this was not something on my to-do list. This wasn't something that I was like on Sunday from 10 to 3, I'm going to clean. This was like, I woke up and I'm like, I know what needs to happen today. Go. Put on a podcast and just go ham. I took everything out of our bedroom except for the bed frame and the rug that it sits on because those are extremely large and heavy. I cleaned out corners. I dusted the baseboard. I cleaned the blinds. I washed the floors, which is such a pain. I have tile floors and I have to use this floor cleaner. I washed all the floors, like changed the sheets, freshened. I did my emotional clearing spray. I spritzed that all throughout the corners and like under the bed, everywhere in the room. I moved furniture around. I moved plants around. I got rid of things. It's really nice when you're doing a clear out, especially if you choose one room. By taking everything out, you get a visual indicator of like, okay, this is what the space looks like, clear and organized. And then when you put the things back in, you're going to initially want to put the things back where you took them away from, right? It's like, this is where this thing goes. But by having that visual indicator of a clear space, when you put things back, you might say, that feels cluttered, or, ooh, that doesn't quite feel right there. Or let me try this here. Let me move things around, see how that feels, right? It's a new season. It's not winter anymore. Things are blooming. Things want to be fresh. Things want to be seen differently. So you might want a cleaner slate. Like in the winter, you might want to feel a little more clutter or feel a little bit more contained, right? Like I have my things around. I have my comforts. I have my stuff. I have my blankets and my jackets and my sweaters and my thick socks and my candles all over the place. Like, but in the spring, maybe you want a clear slate. At least that's how I was feeling. So in the bedroom, I actually removed some of the things that had been there and it feels so much lighter. I carried on and went into the bathroom and, you know, from a practical cleaning standpoint, I decided to do baking soda and vinegar and hot water in all of the drains. So like clearing out. A couple weeks ago, John did our shower drain. He like unclogged our shower. That is the most humbling experience ever, by the way, is when you have to, as an adult, clean out your shower drain and you're like, this is disgusting. I am a disgusting human. And what am I even doing with my life? So John and I take turns doing that, but he did that. And it inspired me to do the other drains in our bathrooms and our kitchen sink. So that's like a really good project to do. And then I had a new spring essential oil that I get from Primally Pure. Yeah, Primally Pure. And it's their spring essential oil. And it has Palo Santo and like grapefruit and rosemary. It smells so light and fresh. I'm going to write that down for you and put it in the show notes. You'll get the link to that spring essential oil. So I put that in my Branch Basics, which is the all-purpose cleaner that I use for laundry and our regular cleaning products. So I mix that Branch Basics with some of that essential oil and use that to clean. And it smells so good. It's so fresh. So just like, again, there's another little tip is scent. Like what scents were you craving in the winter? I was doing a lot of cinnamon, a lot of pine and pinyon resin. But now it's spring. I'm like, I want grapefruit, rosemary, citrus, right? I want bright scents. So allow yourself to just be open to what feels right, what feels good for this season, for this space. So I carried on, did the closet, which I have been just consistently doing closet cleanouts and reorganizing. John has some new clothes. I hung all of his clothes. I got all the things off the floor, vacuumed the baseboards, right? Like these things, it's amazing where we collect. So that's another thing that I really like to think of when it comes to doing a spring clean, a spring reset, is just like I did in the bedroom by taking everything out and looking for the blank slate, looking around your house for places that collect. They might collect dust. Again, we have these wide, beautiful baseboards and they get so dusty, but my little handheld vacuum fits perfectly and goes shoo, right? And I just vacuum right down the edge and it cleans and it's so satisfying. So look for places that collect dust, that collect dirt, that collect things. For example, the shelf underneath John's clothing rack in the closet was collecting things. It had like old snow clothes were sitting there. I had a box of air filters sitting there. Like just things were collecting there. I'm like, these don't need to be here. Put them away, put them where they go, get them out of this space. And then places that collect energy. So that could be the kitchen. I feel like the kitchen collects a lot of energy and it collects smells. That's another thing that I like to look for. We have the laundry room where Mia's litter is, collects smells. The kitchen collects smells. So looking for those places and then being intentional about clearing them really well. And then when it comes to collecting energy, corners, right? In general, corners are like little energy zones. I saw recently someone on Instagram was like, oh, when you want to do a clearing, clap in the corners or like do a dong, like a bell or a sound bowl to like move the energy there. I was like, ooh, I like that. So taking your energy spaces. And then another energy space that I think about that collects energy is the entryway. And for us, we have two. We have the front door and then we have the garage area. Both collect different things. I found this cute little cart at the Container Store and I had just like hats and scarves kind of in a basket on the floor in our entryway and then coats hanging everywhere. So I put all the coats in the garage where we have the coat and winter stuff. And then I put all of our summer hats and sunglasses and like entryway things in this cute little 3-tiered bin. And it's like, oh, now that space is reset. I moved all of our shoes and I have to finish this project, but it's like we have a bunch of shoes on a shoe rack in the laundry room, but of that, we only use about 3 or 4 of them regularly. So I want to put the other shoes in the shoe bin, right? So where is the energy stuck? Where is it winter energy still showing up? And where can you release that, move it, store it, reset it so that it's not weighing you down in the spring? Okay, you know what's next. My favorite things to talk about. Looking at a spring cleaning, it might be a good time to do a cleanse, a parasite cleanse, an Ayurvedic Khichdi cleanse. Maybe you've wanted to try fasting and that feels good right now. I just learned about more extended fasts, like 1, 2, 3 day fasts that my cousins have been doing. And I'm curious. I'm like, maybe now's the time to try a 1-day fast, like a water fast, right? Or maybe you want to look at your morning routine. Okay, here we go. So we have food, we have beverages. I've recently started wanting to have more tea. I did a tea ceremony with someone and I bought some tea and I was like, I kind of like the energy of the tea. So maybe I want that in the morning. So checking for your palate, as always, like, does your regular coffee taste good right now? Maybe you want to change it up. Maybe you want to change up the time and the way that you eat during the day. I'm wanting to get back to taking my athletic greens, which I took all last summer. They did not taste good. Oh my gosh. They did not taste good in the winter. And I could not. I was like, well, most greens. I was like, I didn't want vegetables in the winter and I certainly didn't want athletic greens in the morning. But now that the energy has changed, I'm like, ooh, you know what I want? I've completely by force. I've had to force myself to shift my routine because what was happening, and this is a really good indicator of I'm carrying stagnant energy into a new season. I was spending my mornings, I'd get up, do my thing, except I was waking up a lot later because in the spring after the time change, I'm sleeping till like 7:30 or 8, whereas in the winter, it's like 6. I'm up. So I'd sleep in, then get up, do my morning things, have my coffee on the heat mat. This is old. It's warm now, but I was still doing that. And then sitting there, but I'd get stuck. So all of a sudden, it's like 10:30 because now the day's starting later, right? If the day starts at 6 and I spend 2 hours having coffee on the heat mat, like it's still 8 a.m. But if the day's starting at like 8:30, 8 o'clock, next thing you know, it's 10:30. It's almost lunchtime. And then I had a lot of trouble getting going, and it was this lethargy. And I'm like, this doesn't vibe. And I didn't want to go on my walks. It wasn't working. So this week, I decided, okay, I need to do what's going to serve me. And right now, what I realize is I need to get up and get going in the morning. It's not time for slow, leisurely mornings because then nothing happens. And I got things. I've got programs I'm creating. I'm creating the Emotional Edit extended audio program. That's going to be a private audio program, self-paced for you. I'll put the link I have a pre-sale up. It's like a super deal right now because the whole program has evolved, by the way. The whole program has evolved. And I have a beautiful experience that's being created for you. So it's on super, super duper pre-sale. If you want in now, it's like a secret pre-sale that you can sign up. I'll put the link in the show notes. But I'm creating that program. I have this whole spring cleaning campaign. I have this beautiful post that I've created on my Substack account, which again, links in the show notes. Guys, the show notes are going to be lit today. So use that for your resource for everything I'm mentioning because I'm trying to keep up with that. But we have this beautiful, massive blog post that goes through all of these categories of spring cleaning and how to best support yourself. It's like choose your own adventure style. So we have that. I have all of these ideas for reels. I'm creating this new series called Your Emotional RX, and it's going to give like resources and tools when you have different things come up, like the first one's going to be stuckness and tightness in your throat. Like, what do I do when my throat feels blocked? Okay, here's what to do. Here's what this means. Like, I got so much I want to do. I got my podcast. I got one-to-one clients. I'm opening spots. I just opened spots for one-to-one for only a few people, 3 people. If you want just audio text support, as I like to call it, from me, over the next few months, I've put that together. So I'll put that in the show notes. I'm so freaking excited about this offer. It's like on the go, like Dana in your pocket, help you process and deal with what's going on, help you celebrate, help you talk through, help you reconnect to your inner voice. It's like Dana on demand. And we get to co-create over the next few months together via text and audio support. So I have that. So it's like all this stuff. And yet my mornings were slow and I couldn't get going. And it was not working because I had all this creative energy and then I wasn't being able to express it and then I wasn't sleeping. Plus I'm wanting to move my body and do yoga. And it's like, this wasn't working. So this week I decided, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up, make my athletic greens, and then drink them, and then go on a quick walk around the neighborhood, like a 10-minute walk, get my circadian rhythm going, get that morning sun, walk in my athletic greens, then come back and have a tiny cup of coffee and then have some tea. And that feels so good. And even that isn't totally it because I decided to have my food before my coffee. So wake up, have athletic greens, do my quick morning things, unload the dishwasher, brush Mia. Got to do those things first. Put on my walking clothes and do a short walk around the neighborhood, come back, eat breakfast, have my coffee and tea, and then sit at my freaking desk and get going. I had to clean my office, so I wanted to be in my office and actually create here. And it's a game changer. So ask yourself, what routines are working for me and what routines aren't? Another thing that I'm playing with is actually doing yoga. I'm in a 6-week yoga program and the classes are on Fridays, but I'm wanting to do an additional class, a repeat of the previous one every week. So I'm like really imprinting this into my body, this bowspring form. And I'm playing with doing it at night. So around like 7 before bed. So again, I never wanted to do that in the winter. I just wanted to get into bed. It was all I could do to do my somatic practices, right? So this is such a fun, potent time to just step back, zoom out, reflect, review, and shift the things. If it's not working, let it go. Even my magical morning partner and I, we took a pause and we had to really sit back, and we're still kind of talking through, like, what do we want this practice to be? How do we get back to the basics? Like, how do we anchor ourselves in what we're actually creating versus using this as just like a 20-minute download every morning that's not really serving either of us. So everything gets reviewed: relationships, physical space, the clothing you're wearing, the layout of different spaces in your home, right? Maybe your style wants a revamp. Maybe you want a haircut. I just called and got a haircut. I just got my brows tinted and my eyebrows waxed. And like, what do you want to shift? It could be tiny, 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 like, putting cream in your coffee when you didn't before. Or it could be big, like overhauling your wardrobe and rearranging your house. Or finally putting up those bookshelves like I'd been wanting to do. And it's so freeing. So I just want to direct you to the post that I wrote on Substack, because this is the extended version of this podcast. As I'm recording this podcast, I'm like, shoot, I wish I had put that in the post, but it's too late. This post, y'all, has nearly ended me. I have been working on this for like 3 weeks, and today I just finished it. And I spent another like 2.5 hours on it. It is extensive. It is called Lighten Up, Your Complete Guide to Spring Cleaning from the Inside Out. And it is packed. I love it so much. And it's designed so that you can always come back to it when you need to do some cleaning, whether you want to do a big project, a micro project. And it gives you like a really simple system for going about cleaning and organizing. And I give you tons of recommendations too for cleaning. So say you clean out your skincare products and you get rid of a lot of the toxic ones, you get rid of ones that you don't use, and you're eventually wanting to replace them. I give you recommendations like, here are my favorite products right now. And it's such an extensive post that I think it's going to serve you really well. If you are already on my email list, then you're going to get this post in your email. I'm going to send it to you. If you are not on my email list, the Vitamin D newsletter, may I invite you to join? I'll put the link in the show notes because that's what we're doing today. But you can also just shoot me a DM on Instagram at Dana_Evans. That's going to be the easiest. Or you can email me to dana@alignful.com and I'll get you on the list. I don't send a ton of emails. I go through seasons. Haha, surprise, seasonal. In the winter, I send a lot fewer emails. In the spring, I have more things to say and share, more things I'm creating, more ways I want to support you. And so you'll get a little bit more from me, but I highly recommend you get on that list. And if you do, you're going to get the email of the spring cleaning guide. If you don't, get on the list so you do, because that guide covers everything you could possibly need. And if you're feeling like you really are wanting a clear out of your own energy, then I invite you to reach out to me one-to-one. Obviously, you can do the clearing dense energy audio that's free, but I'm also doing a spring special right now for my one-to-one sessions, just a single session. If you just want to get a taste of what it feels like to clear out, you can take one thing that you're really coming up against. Like maybe you're really frustrated and you feel like you can't release the anger and it's like stuck inside. Maybe it's stuck in your throat. Maybe you're feeling like your shoulders are so tight and you don't know how to unlock your shoulders or your jaw, or you're feeling constant flutters in your chest or uneasiness in your belly. Like these are things that we'll get together in a single session and move that energy out and fill that space with something that's serving you in a lot higher way than the anxiety, sadness, anger, etc. So I am offering a special for $222 off those sessions. So they're $333 for the session. And again, that's going to be in your show notes. Now my work is going to be to do the actual show notes, huh? So I will make sure those are done so that you have all the resources you need. And of course, you can always reach out to me on Instagram or send me an email and I will hook you up. So I hope this inspires you to do a little cleaning. I'm like, clean out your playlist, clean out your books, like get some new music going that feels fresh and inspiring. Find some new podcast episodes. Have a new morning routine. Have a new evening routine. Have a new skincare routine. Our skin loves change. Our skin loves it when we change things up. Our hair loves it when we change things up. Our home loves it. I don't know if our kids and cats like it. Mia, my cat, changes her routine definitely a bit, but she is pretty set on my morning with her. She still wants me to do the same things. Except now she gets a bunch of windows open. She wants to sit in my office now and watch the birds from here instead of just at the sliding door. So she's a little more active. But yeah, just know that it's so refreshing to release the stagnancy, to make an intention to make space in your physical environment, in your physical body, in your emotional and energetic body, in your relationships, and open yourself up to those nudges from within, the nudges from your inner voice of like, try this, do this. My inner voice has been taking me to a coffee shop a little bit to go do work there. And I hadn't done that for months. I haven't wanted to. And now all of a sudden it feels more fun to get out of the house and to spend some time in other people's energy and create right from that space. So know that there's guidance within you, and I'm sure you're following it to some extent, but this is just the permission and the invitation to remember that there's a lot of joy with mixing things up and knowing that summer's coming. And for a lot of people with kids, like schedules can radically change. So spring is a really good time to kind of practice getting comfortable with the shifts and changes. So with that, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for playing with me as we get to explore all of the realms of inner voice, emotions, physical body, and physical space. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Tuning In podcast. If you loved this episode, please rate and review it or share it with a friend. If you want to go deeper into the realm of emotions and learn the language of your body, check out my audio course, Emotions Decoded, at alignful.com/audio. As always, you can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans. See you next week.